everyone, I am your astrologer Wonder Girl, taking you to new heights. This is your forecast for the full moon in Sagittarius, happening on June 17th, 2019 at 4:30 a.m. Eastern Time and 1:30 a.m. Pacific Time. What this full moon in Sagittarius is all about, in my opinion, is stepping into a brand new world, a whole new you, experiencing things way differently than you ever have, and looking at things way differently than you ever have before. All right, so that's what we are going to talk about today, this new perspective that it is that you're getting on your life. Before I go into that though, I do want to let you know that if you want to get not just inspiration from me every new moon and full moon, which I do right here on YouTube, but if you want to get videos from me every single day about what's going on that day in the astrology, they're pretty long too, about the length of these videos. If you want to get that, and if you also want to get special bonus videos from me also that I do upload about once a week, then please check that out. My new subscription service, set the link down below in my description box to learn more about that. Now let's dive into the charts. What we've got going on is the moon hanging out right here in Sagittarius. We've got this moon in Sagittarius opposite the sun here in Gemini. That's what makes a full moon when we've got the moon opposite the sun. What do full moons have to do with? Well, they typically have to do with endings, ending something, but if not ending something, then they have to do with culminations of some sort. I think that's how I'm going to go with this time. This full moon in Sagittarius being more of a culmination, especially because Sagittarius is more of an optimistic sign, more of a lively sign. So I like to think of Sagittarius as bringing more beginnings than endings. So that's how I'm going to interpret this. At this full moon, we're stepping into something. What are we stepping into? Well, Sagittarius is the sign of something new and different that you have not done before. Also the sign of what traveling, adventuring, studying, learning something. So I do believe that we are stepping into here a new identity, a new us, a new person that we are, a new way of believing and seeing things, especially since Sagittarius also has to do with your belief systems. Okay, now a lot of you could be moving on this new, it is a new moon in Sagittarius, full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the sign of travel. We're about to come to a solar eclipse in Cancer, so a lot of you could be moving. Some of you also could be traveling or studying something in school as well, that this would be a major focus at this full moon in Sagittarius. But of course, for those of you who watch me, you know I like to go a little bit, give you a little bit bigger perspective than that as to what's going on and give you the story so far. So what I think's happening here, what led us to this point, to this new us here, is that with this Saturn-Pluto South Node conjunction that's been going on for the past few months here, we've been changing our life to be something different. And not just our life externally to be something different for us as human beings, for us to actually be different people, living life by a different set of circumstances. And I feel like the past few months, since April, really even before that, but especially in April, we were trying to fix things, rearrange things in our life in practical ways so that we could be or could do something else, something different. And I feel like what's gone on is we've made a lot of those practical arrangements. We've initiated a lot of the early stages of the change. And at that new moon in Gemini that happened, what, about 2 weeks ago before this, we started to get comfortable with the fact that we had just changed and upended our life in a huge way to break old karmic patterns and to restart our lives doing new and different things. And I feel like now that we spent this new moon in Gemini here 2 weeks ago getting comfortable with the fact that we just made this big change, now at this new moon in Sagittarius, we're saying, okay, now I can throw myself into it. Now I can not just make the change, which we did, but now I can actually see the potential, see what's on the other side of these things, this change that I'm doing. And I can start to get excited about what's to come, and I can start to see the new possibilities, the new adventures, and the new me take hold. Now, does that mean that at this new moon in Sagittarius, we are the new people that we wanted to be, the new things that we wanted or started to initiate 2 months ago? No, it doesn't mean that. But what's happening at this new moon in Sagittarius is that we're starting to get a clearer idea, more than we ever have before, of what the future holds. And we're starting to get excited about it and to anticipate it. And we're starting to actually do the work, more or less, to make this new us happen so that our reality can line up with our dream. Okay, so that our reality can line up with the vision. And I think that's, to me, what this new moon, this full moon even though I want to say new moon just because Sagittarius is the sign of something new, but I really think that that's what this full moon is all about, is we're saying, hey, I want to be someone different, something different than I've ever been before, that I've been trying to change my life to be. The past few months, I've been too bogged down with the details and with working things out with people, with relationships, and with money, and with making the adjustments. And maybe even the past week or two, it's been a lot of emotional stuff, a lot of stuff inside. I'm trying to get comfortable with what I'm doing. And now that I've made the practical arrangements to do what I need, and now that I've tried my best to assuage, calm some of my fears and my emotions, now I just gotta do it. Now I just gotta dive in. Now I just gotta loosen the grip and take the trust fall into my new life and just let it happen and just embrace what is to come. And I feel like that's where we are now. As to where at the new moon in Gemini 2 weeks ago, we were like kind of like experimenting with this new identity, trying on maybe different personalities to get comfortable in this space. With this full moon in Sagittarius, we're kind of at the point where we're like, okay, now I just gotta pick one. I gotta pick one of these identities. I gotta pick one of these people that I was trying to be, or that I was playing with, or one of these possibilities, and I gotta discover and go in further and more deeply in order to understand that, okay? There's another interesting thing about Sagittarius as well, and about this sign. This sign has to do with your belief systems, and I think what a lot of times with Sagittarius, the beliefs come from experience. To me, it also, yeah, how do I know? I know by doing. How do I know something? Because a lot of times Sagittarius also is the sign of wisdom. How do I know wisdom? Well, because I lived this thing and I experienced it, and then it told me, my experience told me or showed me that this is what happens. So I feel like what's also going on at this full moon in Sagittarius is not just that we're finally embracing the fact that we're going to become a new person, even if it's going to take a longer journey for us to be in it, to be that person. And not only are we finally getting excited about what's going on, but we are finally allowing ourselves to experience deeply this new identity, this new person, and to actually live it, to not just think about it in the mind, you know, like sometimes Gemini can think things a lot, you know, think things in a lot of different ways, you know, can talk circles around people and places and things, but it's like, can you actually walk the talk? Can you actually put your money where your mouth is? Can you actually live the things that you're thinking about? Do the things that you're thinking about actually work in reality? And I feel like that's kind of what's happening here at this new moon in Sagittarius. It's like the rubber is hitting the road. We're finally trying to be more actively in a more real way, through real experience, the thing that we've only thought about months ago, the thing that we just weren't really doing a few months ago, but we're trying to rearrange all our resources to allow us to do this thing. And now that we've changed everything, yeah, to allow us to be this new person, and now that we've gotten comfortable with it, now we have to say, okay, am I really going to be this new person, or am I not? And if I'm really going to be this new person that I think I can be, that I want to be, am I willing to put in the work in order to make it happen? And not even work, you know, it's like Sagittarius isn't a super work-oriented sign, but am I willing to let myself have what I believe I deserve? And am I willing to just allow myself to just do it, to embrace it, to go in wholeheartedly and get excited about these things that it is that I see, all right? So that's how I feel. And it's like we're getting tons of visions, dreams, ideas about our future and who we could be, and we can be those people. I need you to realize that. If there's something in your mind that you're getting at this full moon where you're like, I really want to be this person, if only I was this person, you're getting this vision now in your mind because you're meant to be it, and you're supposed to be that. Even if you aren't that now, it's like you're foreshadowing the future you with these thoughts that you're having. It's just now at this full moon in Sagittarius, you have to bridge the gap between what you think you want to be and between you actually being that person. And you have to do things, you have to dive in, you have to experience things. And especially, maybe that's another thing that I should say with Sagittarius, you can't take anyone else's words as truth. You have to experience it for yourself, you know? Even if there's some of you that are still worried, well, I don't know if I can actually hack it, I don't know if I can actually be this new person that I want to be. Or maybe, especially with the Mars conjunct Mercury, maybe someone else is telling you that you can't be the thing that you want, or maybe even you're having some your own negative self-talk with a lot of these other things going on, the Mercury opposite Saturn and Pluto. And I'm telling you, how do you know? If someone else is telling you, oh, this thing that you want to be, you can't be it. If you're telling yourself, being too hard, criticizing yourself, oh, this thing you want to be is never going to happen. Well, part of me is like, how do you know? You don't know until you experience. You don't know until you try. That's what Sagittarius is all about. I know from experience. I know this is going to work because I did it and I proved to myself it could work. I know this isn't going to work because I did it and it failed. So what's going on here is we know there's a new person we want to be. I think it's a foreshadowing of us realizing that it's attainable, and in order to be that new person, you need to do it. You need to take the risks. You need to experience life, and you need to learn for yourself. You need to learn for yourself how to make this stuff happen and how to make this stuff work. And the way that you're going to learn for yourself is by doing. And once you do things, you'll start to know more and more and more and more. And I think we already do kind of know what we want in a big way, what our soul wants, but it's just getting further and more deeply ingrained and involved in this thing that we are feeling in our souls. All right, so that's what I believe this full moon is all about. Okay, just looking at my notes. Yeah, maybe that's another thing I should say. Maybe we didn't expect our life to be this way. Maybe we didn't expect to want the things that we want, for the things to happen in the way that happened. But I think now at this new full moon in Sagittarius, we just have to accept where we are right now in our life and where we want to be, even if there's a gap between those two things, and we have to dive in to get messy, to bring the two together. And it's not a bad thing. Like, Sagittarius to me is one of the luckiest, most optimistic signs. This is a fun thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's an exciting thing. So go for it. Another thing that I also really like about this full moon in Sagittarius, sorry I was talking kind of fast, how to get that out, was also that we do have Jupiter at this time making a square over here to Neptune and Pisces. This is also a very good thing. Also kind of a rare alignment. These planets, they're slower moving more or less. They don't really touch each other too often, and they're both in their home signs, Jupiter at home and Sag, and Neptune and Pisces. So this to me is also another positive thing of you rewriting stories in your life. If you thought you were always one way and your life was always going to be this, and this was always going to be hard, and I was always this person, this alignment I think is really helping you at this full moon to say, I don't have to be this person. I'm rewriting the story. I'm breaking the habit. I'm a new person. I'm doing things differently, and you're starting to adjust your internal perspective. Pisces has a lot to do with your internal emotions. You're starting to adjust your internal perspective to realize that you can be something new. There is something different. There is something better, that you can overcome the past, that you are worth it. You're starting to believe in yourself. You're starting to bring old situations forward with you into new and better situations here, and I think it's starting to kick on. Your creative imagination is starting to really help you here see yourself in different ways, propel you forward, and yeah, write new stories, write new scripts of how you do things in the future. Love it. Okay, other things that we got going on. Neptune as well in Pisces, and a trine here with the North Node. So to me, this is also a good thing, giving you a lot of peace of mind. If not, I mean, I don't know. We still do have Mars conjunct Mercury opposite Saturn and Pluto. So there can still be some things that we're frustrated about. But I think we're starting to get underneath the surface a lot more peace of mind. Now that all of these things that we want in our life are no longer in the mind. We're no longer just thinking about things that we want. And now that we've already initiated the big change, now that we've already upset some things, told people off, told people what we wanted and what we didn't want, now that we've already done that, I think we're starting to feel much better. Okay, I did a lot of the hard work to get myself to this place. I'm not where I want to be, but I did the hard work to get myself to this place. Okay, I'm more or less comfortable with this, and I think now that we're starting to embrace more and more the new us, and to do more and more and more and more the things that it is that we need to align ourselves with our new path, I think we're starting to see new possibilities, new doors open up. We're starting to feel like we're overcoming old things, and we're starting to feel way more at peace inside. So those are things that I love all around a lot. The things that I don't like, perhaps I'll mention that, are going to be right here with this Mercury conjunct Mars opposite the Saturn Pluto South Node. It's kind of an unusual alignment, to be honest, and I'm not the most sure how to interpret, just because this Mercury these planets are on the north node and these planets are on the south node, so it's very interesting. What this could bring here with this Mercury, Mars, for one, it could bring intense conversations. It could bring arguments, especially the past few days. It could bring fights up with other people going on. Needing to watch your words here. I think there is a lot of, I think we do have a lot of high energy. We do have a lot of excitement. Maybe there is a lot of fear that we can't actually be the thing that we want to be, even though we can. And I think maybe that's causing some people to say things they don't mean, or for you to have your mind spiral out of control here. And I think just needing to get a handle on that. And I think that's what this full moon in Sagittarius really is for, is to say, hey, like, stop letting your mind, stop letting your emotions, stop letting your feelings spiral out of control, and just do. And the more that you finally now at this full moon start to act to make these things that you believe in, that you see in the future real, then you're gonna stop making more problems for yourself because your emotions are out of hand, and then you're saying things that you don't mean. All right, so that's something I could say there. Watch your words with this Mars, Mercury, because there could be a lot of intense feelings, frustrations that may come out in weird ways that really aren't necessary. Because to me, there's not really a lot going on that's bad in the chart. I mean, there are a lot of good things with this full moon, the Jupiter square Neptune. I think things are good. We're starting to open up new possibilities. We just may be scared about that, and we may be trying to get right with our emotions emotionally. I think there may be a lot of thoughts and conversations about our feelings. If we're not angry, if we're not angry and lashing out for no reason at other people, then there could be a lot of thoughts and conversations that happen at this full moon with ourselves about our feelings. How do I feel about this? How can I really make this new me last? And how can I do it in a more stable and secure way to get what it is that I want? And could be a lot of soul searching going on to help propel you forward with this alignment, okay? Also, with this Mars and Mercury opposite the Saturn and Pluto, we could still be frustrated that even though we're starting to step into a new life, experience new things, throw ourselves into really creating a life that it is that we like, we could still be frustrated. Not only are we emotional with this Mars Mercury, not only are we emotional and maybe stressed out because we're doubting ourselves or feeling insecure or frustrated, but there could also be with this Saturn, South Node, Pluto stuff from the past coming back, or not even coming back, but stuff from the past just hanging around just by the nature of it, you know, like, you know, you can't just go from, you know, you can't just move from one home to another without cleaning up the old home, you know. So there's a lot of things that are going on here. It's like there could still be some things from the past hanging around that are frustrating us, and maybe that's creating the difficult conversations and throwing us inward on ourselves. That's making us frustrated and upset and impatient and insecure about what's going on. But I'm telling you, things are okay. You're gonna be fine, even if things from the past are still hanging around that are frustrating you. You don't become the new person by just wishing and hoping and praying thoughts and prayers, you know, that maybe one day I'll be this new person that I want to be. Like, you become the new person that you want to be by actually doing things that it is that you need in order to make it happen, and experiencing life and allowing yourself to make mistakes, even if they're not really even mistakes, but allowing yourself to do the necessary things that it is that you need. And once you allow yourself to embrace the new you and to throw yourself into this new you, to really fully own it, be it, become it, then it's going to help you take all these old frustrating things with the Saturn, South Node, Pluto stuff. Then it's going to help you to take those things and to bring them forward into better situations, all right? But it's not going to happen the other way around. It's not like you go into the new life and you become a new person, and then and you live your new life, and then all of a sudden you go back to the past 5 years down the road after you're living in a new city, in a new town with new people. No, it's like before you go on a road trip, before you move to a new place, before you leave for a course of study. Like, you have to finish the old thing first. You have to tie up the old thing. You have to clean up the old thing. You have to graduate from the old school. You have to say goodbye to all the old friends. So there's a part of me, I understand that some of you can be very frustrated here and be feeling very emotionally out of sorts and very emotionally insecure and very frustrated with some people in your life and some situations that are still around. But the reason why these situations in your past that you're frustrated with are still around is so that at this new moon, full moon in Sagittarius, you can commit to changing them and to being the change and to doing what needs to be done to take these things forward. You just have to make sure that in the process of you becoming the new you and dealing with the old things to take them forward, that you don't fall back into the old you and that you don't fall back into the old habits and patterns. Maybe that's also what we're frustrated about. If I go back to these old situations, then I'm gonna fall backwards. You have to trust, you have to believe, and you have to have enough of the passion for the future in order for you to bring it all together. And I wouldn't be worried. Yeah, there may be some of you that are worried. This is so new, this new life that I'm creating, that if I have to deal with this old situation one more time, and I'm never gonna make what I want, and I'm gonna fall back. And I'm telling you, you're not gonna fall back. You're not gonna fall back into old habits and patterns. You are a new person living a new life, or you will be. You are going to be a new person living a new life. Go back and fix the old stuff. Go back and deal with the old stuff. And don't even, and it's not even about forcing and getting angry. Just go back to the old stuff and be there and exist in it. And take these old things that you used to get really frustrated by and just do them differently, in slightly different ways. With patience, with love, with compassion, especially with the North Node now being in Cancer. And I think you're gonna find that just by you existing in old situations, without you trying too much or too hard to influence events in one way or another, but by you just existing in old situations, now that you have become a new person, that your presence is simply going to be the thing that moves it, that changes it, that transforms it, without you fighting, without you lifting a finger. Well, you're gonna have to do some things, but without you fighting, without you getting angry, without you getting hot and bothered, by you accepting that you're a new person and getting excited about that new person, then placing yourself back in these old situations without fighting people, you are gonna find that you're actually more than you even know and more than you even thought was possible, becoming the person that you always wanted to be and adjusting these situations in your favor. May not look like it, but behind the scenes, things are working in your favor. Okay. So let's see what we've got. We've got the 6. Ooh. Oh, I like this card, the 6 of Cups. This to me is coming out of a hard time and going into a better time here. You know, I think this card traditionally in the Rider-Waite, this card, most of this deck is actually very Rider-Waite, but for some reason this card isn't too much. Typically, when I think of this card in the Rider-Waite, it is the one of a man pushing some people along in like what kind of looks like a gondola, and behind the boat there's troubled waters where they're moving away from, and in front of the boat there's like calm clear seas, and there's like the sun coming up and clear skies. And so I really do feel like we're starting to come out of troubled waters, and we're moving into better times in which we can feel more clear-headed, more free, like life is easy. It's like all of a sudden life is going to start to get so much easier and better than it was. And maybe some of you need to hear that, especially with this Mars opposite Saturn, Pluto. Maybe some of you don't feel like that. Maybe some of you feel like you're getting sucked back into these troubled waters, into the strong, tumultuous undercurrent of all these bad things. And let me tell you, you are not. You're moving forward, and by you just existing and by being yourself and loving yourself and having faith and trust that you can be who it is that you want to be and who it is that you see right now, you are, without even knowing it, becoming that person, living the life that you wanted. And things are getting better, not worse. Don't freak out. You're fine. You also got the Empress. I think I got this as well for the new moon in Gemini, this card. So to me, I'm telling you, there's still a lot that we're giving birth to at this time. Still a lot going on inside us. To me, this is a very positive card when I see the Empress. A lot of good things are starting to take hold that are going to be very, very, very fruitful down the road. Just because you're at the beginning of where you want to be and not the end doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Doesn't mean these things aren't going to pay off. They are going to pay off. You just got to believe, and you just got to dive in 100% and stop holding yourself back and telling you all these things that are scaring you, that are not true, because you got it, you can do this. And with every day that passes, you're getting closer and closer and closer to being that person that you now see and want to be. So that is your forecast for the full moon in Sagittarius. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends. Also, check me out on Facebook and Instagram, and I will talk to you later.